Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to do a detailed review of the new budget smartphone, the Poco M3. So Poco M3 is the latest offering from Poco in India, and this device is priced at 10,999, that's 11,000 rupees. So how good is the device for the 11,000 price segment? Now this device comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 chipset, a large 6000 mAh capacity battery, a full HD resolution display, a great design, and you get the MIUI 12 and 18-watt fast charging as well. So how good is that, and how does it perform in the price segment? Is it really worthy device to buy with a 48 megapixel shooter? So let's find out in this video. So if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's get started with a detailed review of the Poco M3. So first, moving on to the design and build quality. Now we all know that the Poco M3 has a lot of resemblance or rather in terms of spec aspect, there is a lot of resemblance to the Redmi 9 Power. Now the Redmi 9 Power also came with a 662 chipset. Now here, what the standout aspect of the Poco M3 has to be the design. Now the design definitely looks great. You can see the camera layout, the squarish or rather the rectangular layout with black accents, the 48 megapixel camera, as well as the Poco branding looks really good. It's something kind of different at this price segment, so definitely it looks really great, especially the yellow color. Now yellow might not be a taste for everyone, so there is a black as well as blue color, but if you ask me, my favorite obviously this yellow color, which actually looks really stunning. It's a kind of funky color. Now the design aspect is definitely good. Now as I said before, the camera layout and the Poco logo has been done brilliantly by the Poco team. So something which is kind of refreshing, at least this price segment. Now talking about the other aspect, you get the side mounted fingerprint scanner, you get dual speakers, USB Type-C port, and you also get a water drop notch. The camera is also included, and you also get 3.5mm audio jack apart from the IR blaster as well. So that's the design aspect. Now build quality device. Now this is made of a polycarbonate material, but the moment you hold the device, you can actually feel how sturdy the device is. The finishing actually looks great. It's a matte finishing, so it's not a slippery one. So overall the build quality is definitely great for a 10K device or 11K price device. It may not be having a premium glass finishing, but this polycarbonate is built to last and it feels sturdy actually. So that's the design and build quality of the Poco M3. Now moving on to the display. Now while this segment is now moving to HD plus resolution display because of the increase in price of smartphones, we get in full HD resolution at this price segment. Now the display is kind of definitely a good one here. Now it may not be the brightest or the vivid display, but for the price segment of 11,000 rupees, it does a decent job altogether. The touch response feels very smooth, and there is no lag or issues. Even the color reproduction feels quite okay for the most part. The brightness levels are kind of adequate in outdoor lighting. It may not be very high, but still it does a job decently well for the price segment. So that's the display aspect of the Poco M3. So overall, if you look at the 11,000 price segment, full HD resolution display and a decent looking brightness levels as well. Now next, let's talk about the software. So when it comes to MIUI and Poco devices, one of the general perception is that MIUI always comes with ads. That's not the case with the MIUI on Poco. Now the Poco devices have MIUI for Poco, which is having an ad-free experience. So there are no ads on any Poco device. That's something which company claims with every launch. Now one of the annoying things about the Poco's MIUI, or rather the MIUI, is the apps and notification it gives. Now there is an app called Get Apps which provides, or rather which sends out notifications or rather annoying notifications about apps and other things or updates, which should have been disabled by default. That's something which we have been saying with MIUI. And apart from that, there are lots of bloatwares included, like some games, bubble games are included. So these should have been avoided, but then again you are getting an UI at a lower price segment, so there has to be some compromise, and the compromise here is that lot of bloatwares are included. So but you can uninstall many of them, but then few are there still you can't uninstall. One of them is GetApps, Xiaomi's own store, which actually provides a lot of annoying notifications, which actually can be disabled but not disabled by default. But otherwise the software is pretty good and you get a lot of customization options with MIUI. So if you are a person who has used MIUI previously, you might be knowing there are lots of options, theme store, dual app support. So all those things are there on this, and it is running on Android 10 out of the box. So that's the software aspect. Now moving on to the performance. So this device runs on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 chipset. Now it's a decent entry level or a budget chipset under the 600 series. It may not be really very powerful, but for the price segment it does a decent job altogether. There are no lags, and the overall smoothness is quite good on this device. The memory management and the multitasking is also pretty well implemented. There are no issues as such, and it feels quite good in terms of overall experience. If you're looking at the gaming experience, again this is not a device for heavy gamers, but for casual gaming it does a pretty good job. You may not get higher frames FPS because it's kind of an entry level chipset, but for the price segment again it is a decent job, and you can play even higher graphic rich games like Asphalt 9 or COD Mobile without any sort of issues. Now it also has a large battery, so that helps in the overall gaming aspect too. Now moving on to the other aspect, we have a fingerprint scan on the side panel, which does a decent job altogether. It's kind of fast and accurate, and it does not have any sort of issues. Even the face unlock looks quite okay for the price segment it is being offered. Now one of the important aspects, it has dual speakers, and the speaker output is really good, something which has been really well done on this Poco M3. With dual speakers it works really well. Now the call quality is again really good. We tried with Vodafone and Jio. We did not see any sort of issues. It has 4G LTE, VoLTE, and voice over Wi-Fi is also included on this device. Now let's move on to the camera. So we have a 48 megapixel camera on this device, and you get a 2 megapixel depth sensor and 2 megapixel macro sensor. Now one of the sensors which is missing on this device is the ultra wide angle lens. Now ultra wide angle lens has been omitted from this device. We are not sure whether that's a really great decision, because many people still use ultra wide angle sensor, and most of the smartphones, even the budget or the high end devices, have ultra wide angle lens. So it's up to you to decide whether ultra wide angle lens is important for you. If it is important, probably you'll have to go with the Redmi 9 Pro. But this device has a 48 megapixel sensor, and you get a 2 megapixel macro and also 2 megapixel depth sensor, and you get an 8 megapixel selfie camera as well. Now in terms of camera aspect, we have done a detailed camera review of this device. The 48 megapixel camera does a decent job altogether. Now the colors are quite okay for the most part, although here and there is a bit of saturation, but again for the price segment it is kind of decent job, and again sharpness levels are quite okay, acceptable again, and macros definitely looks quite good because at least for the 11 to 12k price segment it is kind of decent experience in terms of macro. The colors are again good, the sharpness levels are decent, and also the portraits looks really good, edge detection and the skin tones are really good. Now the low light experience is in something which is really good on this device. Low lights were kind of very much average, not the best experience, but again price segment we are not really sure whether this is kind of the best experience, but kind of decent experience I would say. And turning on the night mode does a decent improvement in terms of overall quality, but again we would say low light experience is kind of average on this device, and selfie experience is again decent overall on the Poco M3. So overall it's a camera smartphone. We feel it's above average performance, and lack of ultra wide angle lens is definitely an omission on this device. Now moving on to the battery. Now this device has a massive 6000 mAh capacity battery, and that's one of the highlights of this device. Now it also comes with 18 watt fast charging. Now 18 watt fast charging isn't the fastest out there, because now we have 33 watt and even 65 watt, 50 watt chargers available, but at this price segment 18 watt does make a difference, because with 18 watt 6000 mAh capacity battery takes around 2 hours 45 minutes or so to charge, which is a decent charging time for the large capacity battery in the budget segment. And in terms of battery life, it's a stellar performer, because you get like more than 2 days of battery life. That's stellar performance on this device. So if you're a person who travels a lot or watches a lot of movies with this full HD resolution display, you won't complain with the battery life. It's a stellar battery life on this Poco M3. So So that is a detailed aspect about the Poco M3. So how good is the Poco M3 for a 11,000 price device? So Poco M3 has a really good design, build quality is good, it's a full HD resolution display, you get a decent software experience, decent cameras, good performance and exceptional battery life. So it's a good package overall, I would say. Now the downsides, probably the software experience, as I said, it should have been slightly better, some annoying apps and also some bloatware included. That's the only downside with the software. And apart from that, camera again, ultra wide is omitted. That's something which is debatable whether you need ultra wide or not. That's something which is more of a personal choice, but I would say ultra wide should have been included. Otherwise, we feel the Poco M3 is a really great device, truly value for money device for the 11,000 price segment with exceptional battery, and you also get a full HD resolution display. So if you're looking for a device in the 11 to 12k price segment, Poco M3 is definitely one of the devices to consider because it has a really good overall package. So that is a detailed review of the Poco M3. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the red subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.